Bills Mafia, let's dive right into it because there's been a lot of chatter lately about who should be the second running back in Buffalo's rotation, Ray Davis or Tai Johnson. And honestly, the debate is a lot more layered than just sticking an RB2 or RB3 label on someone. You see, these two guys are not interchangeable backups in the way people tend to think. It's not like the depth chart at quarterback where there's a clear number one, a clear number two, and maybe a third stringer waiting in the wings. This is about role specificity, situational football, and making sure each player's skill set is maximized in the right moments. Ray Davis has carved out a place as a steady, physical option who can get the tough yards and contribute in a more traditional running role. Meanwhile, Tai Johnson brings that versatility you want on passing downs, the kind of all-around capability where he can protect the quarterback, slip out for a quick reception, and make something happen in open space. That makes him incredibly valuable in modern offenses, where passing situations are far more than just dropbacks and deep shots. In Buffalo's case, they're both expected to see somewhere in the range of 20 to 30% of the snaps in a given game. So it's less about a pecking order and more about tailoring the offense to the situation. James Cook will remain the feature back, but Davis and Johnson will rotate and depending on what the defense shows, the down and distance, and how the game script unfolds. That leads us into a bigger philosophical conversation that's been swirling around the Bills, the balance between the run and the pass. There's this idea going around that in today's NFL, if you pass the ball 45 or 50 times a game, you're asking too much of your offensive line. It's true that defensive linemen today are freak athletes who can get after the quarterback like never before, and asking your blockers to hold up for that many reps is tough. That's why a balanced attack isn't just nice to have. It's a necessity if you want to win in January. And the Bills, for all the talk about Josh Allen's arm and the explosive passing game, have actually been trending more toward the run than some might realize. Last season, they ranked near the bottom of the league in pass play percentage and near the top in run play percentage, which shows there's already an organizational commitment to keeping defenses honest. But here's the thing. There's no magic number for how many passes you should throw. You can't go into a game saying, we'll throw exactly 25 times and run exactly 35. Every opponent is different. Every matchup has its own vulnerabilities to attack, and the weather, injuries, and flow of the game can all dictate adjustments. Sometimes it'll make sense to air it out. Sometimes pounding the rock will be the way to go. The real goal is to remain two-dimensional, to make sure the defense can't look at your personnel and formation and know exactly what's coming. When you have Josh Allen, your most dangerous plays will almost always involve him throwing the ball, but the threat of a strong running game can make those throws even more effective by keeping the defense guessing. Speaking of changes in the game, let's address the kickoff situation because it's stirred up quite a bit of emotion among fans. The NFL's recent adjustments were designed to bring kick returns back into the sport while making the play safer. Gone are the days of two squads sprinting full speed at each other from 50 yards apart and colliding like wrecking balls. Now, that's a more condensed setup, which might look odd at first, but it drastically reduces high-impact collisions. That's the trade-off. More returns, fewer catastrophic hits. For teams, it comes down to execution. Cover the kick, tackle well, and you won't be giving opponents the ball at the 35-yard line. But if you fail in that execution, you're handing them a huge advantage. It's why decision-making from the returner matters so much. Take the free 35 when it's there, and be selective about when you bring it out. Defensively, one lingering fan concern has been the Bills giving up too many third-and-long conversions, something that haunted them last season. But it's important to keep perspective. Preseason games, especially ones without game planning and with key starters missing, aren't reliable indicators of how the unit will perform when it counts. Without their starting safeties and middle linebacker, Buffalo's defensive calls were understandably vanilla. That's not the same as the regular season approach, where matchups are scouted in depth and adjustments are tailored to specific opponents. Yes, it's frustrating to see those conversions allowed, but preseason is more about evaluating players than locking down situational defense. Now, while we're on the subject of roster management, the practice squad rules are worth understanding because they shape how deep teams can go and how they hold on to talent. Each NFL team has a 16-man practice squad, with an extra spot available for an international program player. Of those, up to 6 can be veterans with more than 2 accrued seasons. The rest are developmental players, and here's the catch. Those with fewer than 4 accrued seasons must clear waivers before returning to the squad, meaning any other team can claim them and add them to their active roster. They're no longer protected practice squad players as there were during the COVID years. So if you got a loaded roster like the Bills, you're inevitably going to lose some promising young guys to teams with more room on their depth charts. And what about Josh Allen's accuracy in camp this year compared to last? Reports say it's been excellent, just as it was a year ago. The difference isn't Allen, it's the defense. In 2024, Allen lit them up day after day in camp, which in hindsight hinted that the defense had some issues. This time around, there's been more give and take, with the defense winning some days. That's a good sign for the overall health of the team. You want your franchise quarterback looking sharp, but you also want the defense to be competitive enough to push him in practice. We'll circle back to player roles in a moment, but it's worth touching on the tactical wrinkle that's generating buzz: 5-man pressures. Fans hear 5-man front and 5-man pressure, and sometimes think they're the same thing, but they're not. A 5-man front means you've got 5 defenders aligned on the line of scrimmage before the snap, often by walking up a linebacker. A 5-man pressure simply means you're rushing 5 players at the quarterback, and that can come from any combination: 4 down linemen and a linebacker for linemen and a defensive back, or even 3 linemen with 2 blitzers from the second level. The point is to create more one-on-one matchups and stress the offensive line's communication. The downside is you've got 1 fewer player in coverage, so you're betting that the pressure will force quick throws or mistakes before a receiver can get open. Now, when we shift the focus from individual players and formations to the bigger picture, you start to see just how intricate Buffalo's blueprint really is. This is not a team that's content with doing one thing well and hoping it's enough. They're building layers into their identity, creating options so they can pivot mid-game if an opponent starts to take away their bread and butter. That adaptability shows up in so many small decisions, from how they handle blocking personnel to how they disguise defensive looks. Take the tight end situation, for example. Jackson Yes, Jackson, not Spencer, no matter how ingrained that old basketball memory might be, represents a specific strategic tool for the Bills. He's not just another body on the edge. He's a high-quality blocking tight end who can get out into space, reach defenders, and still present at least a credible pass-catching threat. Even if he never turns into a high-volume receiver, the fact that he can release into a route and make a defense account for him is a layer of unpredictability you simply don't get from using a 6th offensive lineman in that spot. When Buffalo does roll out a 6th lineman, it's for a different reason entirely. That's about raw power at the line of scrimmage, moving bodies and creating push in the trenches. It's less about versatility and more about declaring, "We're coming right at you. Stop us if you can." The Bills will use both looks, depending on the situation. If they want range and a pass threat, hoss the guy. If they want to impose their will and bulldoze in short yardage, the extra lineman comes in. Mixing those packages forces defenses to prepare for 2 different kinds of physical football and prevents them from loading up on one specific countermeasure. On the defensive side, the notion of 5-man pressure isn't just a buzzword. It's a philosophical shift that says we're willing to risk 1 fewer body in coverage if it means we can heat up the quarterback and disrupt the timing of the passing game. In today's NFL, timing is everything. Quarterbacks are trained to get the ball out in 2.5 seconds, and receivers are running routes designed to be open right on schedule. If you can force that ball out in 2 seconds or make the quarterback hitch just once more before throwing, you can throw the whole rhythm off. That's the logic behind these pressures. Create one-on-one matchups up front, stress the offensive line's communication, and open the door for either a free rusher or a hurried throw in a tight coverage. Of course, there's no free lunch in football. Rushing 5 means you're more exposed on the back end, and if your corners lose their one-on-one, it could be a quick 6 the other way. That's why personnel matters so much. If you're going to send that extra rusher, you'd better have coverage players who can hold up long enough for the pressure to land. Buffalo's willingness to use this approach suggests confidence in their secondary. And that's something worth noting after the injuries and inconsistencies that plagued them a year ago. And speaking of the defense's personality, it's impossible not to notice the difference in energy between the offensive and defensive coaching staffs during camp. You watch a defensive period, and the coaches are practically vibrating with intensity, shouting, gesturing, making every rep feel like a playoff snap. It's not just theater. That energy is part of how defensive players learn to play fast and aggressive without overthinking. Defense is chaos. You react, you chase, you hit. There's no guaranteed script for what the offense is about to do, so you have to be ready to adjust in a split second. That mentality starts on the practice field, with coaches pushing players to stay sharp and stay on edge. Offense, by contrast, is more methodical. You're executing a known plan, so the coaching style is often calmer, more focused on precision and timing than on firing up adrenaline. Now, let's circle back to the special teams wrinkle that's still fresh in everyone's mind, the new kickoff format. The whole point was to make returns viable again without going back to the high-speed collisions that made the play one of the most dangerous in football. This new condensed setup changes the math on field position. Suddenly, a smart returner and a disciplined coverage unit can swing momentum with one good play. But it also demands that teams think harder about risk versus reward. Giving your opponent the ball at the 35 because you failed to cover a return is a momentum killer, and just as bad as giving up yardage because a returner got greedy instead of taking a touchback. It's a game of discipline and awareness, now more than ever. That same theme of discipline shows up in how Buffalo handles situational football. Fans remember the frustration of watching opponents convert 3rd and long last year, but the Bills know that regular season defense is built on preparation, disguise, and executing the game plan, none of which are emphasized in preseason. That's why you have to take August results with a grain of salt. Without their starting safeties and middle linebacker, the Bills weren't about to unveil exotic third down packages against the Giants in a meaningless game. The real test will come when the games count and the staff has a full week to study an opponent and build a plan around taking away their favorite third down concepts. And while the fan focus often zeroes in on who's on the field, the practice squad is just as critical to a team's success over the long haul. The current rules make it tricky for loaded rosters like Buffalo's to hold onto all their talent. Once final cuts are made, players with fewer than 4 accrued seasons have to clear waivers before they can be signed to the practice squad. That means any other team in the league can swoop in and sign them to an active roster. There's no hiding them anymore. The protected spots from a few years ago are gone. So when the Bills lose a promising young player to another team in late August, it's not because they didn't want him. It's because having a deep, competitive roster means you can't keep everyone. It's the kind of problem every team wishes they had, even if it stings in the moment. Then there's the quarterback, the centerpiece of everything Buffalo does. Josh Allen's accuracy this camp has been right where you'd want it. The difference from last year is the defense isn't letting him dominate every single day, and that's a positive. The back and forth in camp means the defense is competing, creating tighter windows, and making Allen work for completions. That's how a team sharpens itself, iron against iron. Allen still looks every bit the elite playmaker, but now he's being tested more often in practice, and that can only help when the real bullets start flying in September. Before we dive back in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest Buffalo Bills updates straight to your screen. And hey, don't hold back. Let us know your thoughts on today's news down in the comments. The Buffalo Bills might be on the verge of making a seismic shift in their offensive lineup, as whispers intensify around the possible acquisition of Justin Jefferson, the record-breaking wide receiver whose name has become synonymous with explosive plays and jaw-dropping catches. Jefferson's arrival in Buffalo could represent a dramatic boost to a Bills offense already teeming with talent, injecting an even more dynamic dimension to their aerial attack. Rumors circulating suggest that the front office is seriously contemplating how this potential addition could elevate their passing game to new heights. The prospect of pairing Jefferson with Josh Allen conjures visions of an unstoppable offensive juggernaut capable of dismantling defenses with speed, precision, and an uncanny ability to find open spaces downfield. As speculation mounts, fans and analysts alike are buzzing with excitement, debating what this trade might mean for the future trajectory of the team. Could Jefferson's electrifying presence be the final piece in Buffalo's championship puzzle? The idea alone has ignited a firestorm of anticipation and discussion, prompting a wave of questions about how such a monumental acquisition would reshape offensive schemes and defensive matchups throughout the league. The buzz is palpable, and the notion of Jefferson donning Bills colors is rapidly becoming a tantalizing possibility that refuses to be ignored. The potential signing of Justin Jefferson by the Buffalo Bills has sent shockwaves through the NFL as insiders hint at the wide receiver's imminent arrival in one of the league's most promising offenses. Jefferson's prolific career, marked by multiple records and highlight reel catches, makes this potential move a headline-grabbing event with far-reaching implications. Fans are already imagining the electrifying plays that could unfold, with Jefferson's exceptional route running and reliable hands providing Josh Allen with a weapon few defenders could contain. The rumor mill is overflowing with conjecture about how this partnership might unfold on Sundays, with some experts predicting a significant leap in the Bills' offensive output. The chatter extends beyond just game day impact, with analysts speculating on the long-term benefits of such a signing, potentially transforming Buffalo into a perennial contender with a fearsome passing attack. Behind closed doors, conversations reportedly focus on the intricacies of the deal, with details about contract terms, potential draft picks, and salary cap implications circulating in whispers among league insiders. As these discussions gain momentum, the possibility of Jefferson wearing the Bills' blue and red appears less like a distant dream and more like an emerging reality. Among the swirling rumors regarding Justin Jefferson's move to Buffalo, the excitement is tempered by strategic considerations and the logistics of integrating such a high-profile talent into an already successful offensive system. Observers note that Jefferson's arrival could necessitate adjustments in the team's playbook, as coaches aim to maximize his strengths while maintaining the cohesive flow of the offense. The speculation also touches on how the existing receiving core might be impacted, raising questions about roster shifts and the distribution of targets among key players. Industry insiders suggest that if the trade or signing materializes, the Bills' coaching staff will face the challenge of blending Jefferson's explosive style with Josh Allen's evolving playmaking abilities, creating a synergy that could overwhelm opposing defenses. Meanwhile, the trade discussions reportedly involve complex negotiations over salary cap management, balancing the desire for elite talent with financial sustainability. The murmurs of Jefferson joining the Bills have sparked debates on sports talk shows and social media platforms, with fans dissecting every possible outcome and envisioning what this means for the team's championship ambitions. The possibility of such a game-changing addition has become a hot topic, fueling the fire of speculation and excitement as Buffalo looks to fortify its roster. The intrigue surrounding Justin Jefferson's potential arrival in Buffalo also highlights the broader landscape of NFL team-building strategies, where high-profile acquisitions are increasingly viewed as pivotal moves to seize the moment in a highly competitive environment. Rumors indicate that the Bills' front office is acutely aware of the opportunity to capitalize on Jefferson's prime years, leveraging his skill set to complement their existing weapons and push for a Super Bowl run. Observers speculate that the timing of this possible deal is no accident, aligning with the team's desire to establish dominance in the AFC and counterbalance the rising power of rival franchises. As news leaks about the ongoing talks, speculation about the ripple effects on draft strategies and salary negotiations continue to swirl, with some insiders suggesting the move could signal a shift toward a more aggressive approach to roster construction. The notion of acquiring Jefferson has also prompted comparisons to other blockbuster trades in NFL history, underscoring the transformative potential of adding a wide receiver of his caliber. Fans, commentators, and analysts eagerly await confirmation their imaginations running wild with the prospect of seeing Buffalo's offense transformed by one of the league's most electrifying talents. The rumor's momentum shows no sign of slowing, further fueling anticipation and debate. If the reports are to be believed, Justin Jefferson's possible transition to Buffalo marks more than just a roster upgrade. It represents a cultural shift within the franchise and a bold statement of intent. The whispers surrounding this move paint a picture of a team willing to make significant investments to contend at the highest level, demonstrating an unwavering commitment to securing elite talent capable of shaping the outcome of critical games. Jefferson's reputation as a game-changer, known for his ability to make spectacular catches and consistently produce under pressure, aligns perfectly with the Bills' ambitions to ascend to the very summit of NFL success. While no official confirmation has been made, the buzz has sparked renewed optimism and fervor among the Buffalo fan base, who envision a future where their offense is among the most feared and respected in the league. Behind the scenes, sources hint at ongoing negotiations and strategic planning designed to accommodate Jefferson's integration seamlessly, while media outlets continue to dissect every development. The notion of a record-setting receiver joining the Bills is an irresistible narrative, one that continues to grow louder and more convincing by the day, leaving everyone eagerly awaiting the next chapter in this unfolding saga. That's a wrap for now. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of all things Buffalo Bills, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments. See you in the next update.